Well, you're gonna get today's Bible reading and message in two parts. It's a nice big long passage. Just to break it up. So, if you don't know by now, we're doing a series on Daniel. And our memory verse is up the top. We haven't started practicing it yet, but we're hoping to very shortly. And there's some magnets going around if you want to take one of those home. That will help us. And you might have noticed a theme in the songs that we've been singing this morning. What themes have you heard this morning, both in the Bible reading and the songs that we've heard? Yep. Great in power and everlasting. Yep. What are some of the things you've been singing about? Yep. Many others? That's a fair bit, isn't it? That's a pretty good theme. There's one difficulty that I have with that, and maybe you have with that, a difficulty you have with that. Is that true? Is it true? Yes! Thank you, John. Yes, it's true. Yeah. If I come to visit you tomorrow, is it still true? Okay, and the next day? Okay. What about the situation you might be in tomorrow? Maybe you have a difficult boss. Is it still true that God is King and that He is powerful and everlasting? Okay, that's good. Do you believe that it's true in that situation where you've got to respond to a difficult boss? Is that still true? And is that something that will help you respond in the right way? Or is it only true for when we're here on Sunday morning and we sing all these nice songs about God has a kingdom that's above all others, and yet tomorrow and we go to work and we're working thinking there's other kingdoms that are more important? This is the theme that's going to reach through the whole book of Daniel. And it's really important for us to grasp what it's saying to us. These are wonderful Sunday school stories, are they not? But they apply to us. Here's Daniel in this situation. He's in a culture which thinks nothing of his religion. He's Jews. We don't like Jews, and they're a bit weird and a bit funny. We're happy if they were wiped out. And yet, how does Daniel respond? How does he respond? It's some amazing contrasts here between Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar. Why might it be hard for us to speak the truth in love? Say we've got an unreasonable boss and he says all these things. How can you say something? Can you tell him the truth? And why wouldn't you be able to tell your your boss the truth? Why in some situations do we stay silent when we know something's not right? What would stop us from saying something? Fear? Lose your job? Yep. Fear's a big one, isn't it? Yep. 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 Do you often feel that you don't know what to say? You know it's wrong, but I should say something, but what should I say? If I say the wrong thing, that'll make things worse. There's lots of things in this passage that we can learn from, but let me just pick a few from this first section of Daniel. We find that both Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel are in the positions they are because God has chosen to place them where they are. Both of them. Both of them. So Daniel's in this position. He's been taken into exile as a young man or a child, and he's learnt the ways, all these occult, pagan literature and the literature of the magicians and astrologers and enchanters and diviners. He's learnt it all. He's learnt their ancient languages and he's excelled. He's learnt all those things. And yet he stands out, even in comparison to Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar was the greatest king and we'll hear more of that in the chapters to come. But he's about 30. He's just conquered the known world. He's come back. He's rebuilt Babylon with amazing splendor. He is so wealthy. He's so powerful and mighty. And yet he has this dream and he's worried about it. He's anxious about it. He can't sleep anymore. He's panicking because even though he's a pagan, he's deeply religious and he knows this dream is from God and he wants to know what it means. God's told him something, but he doesn't understand it. God's revealed something to him, but he doesn't understand it. And so he's searching for answers. And on the other hand, here's Daniel, still a teenager. He's essentially a slave. And his head's on the line. The decree's already been sent out. You're going to be killed. And what does Daniel do? What's his response? How does he act? He knows there is a God and a king and a kingdom that is greater. And that shapes that shapes how he reacts and he responds. And with such calmness, he speaks to the executioner who's rounding up all the wise men. He says, "What's going on?" And you tend to think there's something about Daniel when we read through the book and everyone sort of listens to Daniel. They give him the time of day. They'll tell him what's going on. Even as a teenager. They respect that he's learnt their ways. He's learnt to understand them. And Daniel knows he's been placed there by God for a particular purpose. So he asks the executioner, and the executioner tells him what's going on, and Daniel wants to talk to the king. He seeks a time from the king that I can interpret, explain the dream to him. And I think Nebuchadnezzar is going to respond favourably to this because he wants to know. He's searching for an answer. He's looking for an answer. And Daniel goes to his friends and asks them to pray. Pray. Not run around like a chicken with its head chopped off. Not sitting down at the books, going through the wisdom literature of the Chaldeans. Okay, what do these dream things mean? He doesn't even know the dream. And this was the problem of the other magicians and enchanters. Yeah. He knows that God can come into this situation. And so he prays to God and asks for help in this situation. And I don't want to steal Steve's thunder for next week, but I wonder if Daniel is open to the fact that God may not answer his prayer. That he trusts God that my life is in God's hands. And if God chooses to reveal it or not, that's up to God. But Daniel has some good news. He has been brought up in the Word of God. And you can see it in his prayer. As God reveals to Daniel in a vision of the night. I don't know if he was sleeping soundly or maybe while he was praying, he has a vision. Either way, he's showing such calmness in this situation, facing the chopping block, under pressure. And yet he was calm and prayed for God's mercy. He knew the truth about who God is and his power and his might. And he feared God's power and might more than that of Nebuchadnezzar. And so Daniel, even in his position, showed humility and respect. He had confidence in God to face difficult situations. God answered their prayers. And Daniel praises God. And he chooses to record these words for us to hear. Daniel praised the God of the heavens and said, "Let the name of God be praised forever and ever. For to him there is wisdom and power. He changes times and seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who know understanding. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what is in the darkness, and the light, it dwells with him. To you, God of my fathers, I give thanks and praise, for you have given me wisdom and power, and now you have made known to me what we asked from you, for you have made known to us the king's matter. How does this all apply to us? God has revealed a mystery to us. The good news of Jesus Christ. Paul talks about that it's his mission to proclaim this mystery, this good news. We know this word. We've been given it. It's been revealed. God's revealed it to us so that we might be able to speak, that we might know that God is King. In 1 Corinthians chapter 2, it talks about wisdom from the Spirit. Chapter 2, verse 6 of 1 Corinthians. Among the mature we do impart wisdom, although it is not a wisdom of this age or of the rulers of this age, who are doomed to pass away. Does that ring a bell? We impart a secret and hidden wisdom of God, which God decreed before the ages for our glory. None of the rulers of this age understood this. For if they had, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. But as it is written, what no eye has seen nor ear heard, nor the heart of man imagined, what God has prepared for those who love him. These things God has revealed to us through the Spirit. For the Spirit searches everything, even the depths of God. For who knows a person's thoughts except the spirit of that person, which is in him? So also no one comprehends the thoughts of God except the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, that we might understand the things freely given us by God. And we impart this in words not taught by human wisdom, but taught by the Spirit, interpreting spiritual truths to those who are spiritual. This is the task that we've been given. Like Daniel, an exile in this world, different. We've been given good news, a secret, a mystery that is to be shared, and to be shared with in humility and respect. God has given us the words of his good news. We don't spend all our time looking for amazing visions and dreams. God has revealed the truth that we need to know in his word. He may choose to inspire us by dreams. And as we looked in the prophets, God is foretelling that he will raise up those with dreams and visions to inspire and challenge us. But inspire and challenge us back to God's word, to know him, to know the good news. In the last couple of weeks, I read a story I want to share with you. I do drugs. A night security guard told this to his colleague. And he knows this guy's a Christian, and he says, he comes in and he sticks his head in the door and he says, "You're one of those Christians, aren't you?" and you get a little nervous and, oh, what's this about? And yeah. Security guard crosses his arms and looks straight at you and he says, I do drugs. What would Jesus say about that? How would you respond? How would you respond in that situation? Okay, stereotypical tattooed guy, earrings, and everything comes in and says, I do drugs. Whatever drugs you want to think of. How do you respond? How do you think? What are your thoughts when you hear that question? What would you say? Yeah? Wow, why are you telling me? That's a good leading question. I like that one. Yeah. Good. Okay. So the guy telling the story says there's three main responses that people have to the question. The first one is, I don't know exactly. The next one is, well, he'd tell you to stop. It's not a good thing, so don't do it. And the third one was, he died for your sins so you can be with him in heaven. I don't know if that came up across your thoughts, but they're the three answers that the guy telling the story, they're the main answers that he gets. Anyway, he goes on and he says that it's a true story. And he tells how his friend responded to the situation. What do you think about this? This guy has intentionally come and asked you this question, knowing or wanting to hear your answer. And God has placed them there at that point in time, and placed you there in that point of time, in your workplace, playing sport, wherever you are. And God has placed you there in that place at that time, because you have good news to tell them. But what are you going to tell them? This is how the guy responded. He said, I think Jesus would tell you that you're looking for hope in a place that's going to let you down. And you know it lets you down because you keep going back to it. So I think Jesus would tell you that he's a better place to put your hope, because he promises he'll never let you down. What do you think? It's not meant to put you on a guilt trip, but how well do we know the good news that Jesus has for us? When we think, Jesus died for my sins so I could go to heaven. Most people wouldn't care less. It's not relevant. What about now, today? What difference does Jesus make in my life today? And that's why you're here. Well, that's why you're in Young. That's why you're in your job where you work. You have the good news, and God's placed you there because you have that good news to share. And it's not about handing tracts out in your workplace. It's working with integrity. Working because we're working for a greater King. We're known as the best workers or the most conscientious because I'm not working for my lousy boss. I'm working for a greater King. I'm serving Him. I'm worshipping Him in the way that I work. And just like Daniel, we will have opportunities to share good news. But we need to know it. We need to know it in order to be able to share the gospel in a way which is relevant. What was this guy looking for? What's he looking for? What's he searching for? He asked this question. So we need to know the people that we work with and we speak with, to know how to respond. Where are they placing their trust? Where are they putting their hope? I think we're going to have a song.